Want help?
I need some help.
Help me! Help! You exploit them and spread whatever problems they have to the whole world. You think that's helping?
I love you. It's like, why don't we say that every day? Why can't we say it more often?
I just love you. I just want to go to the rooftops and scream, I love my best friend.
Howdy, y'all. I hope you're doing well. I'm Willard, and this is twinkledad's, an emo advice show. If you don't know already, the gist of the show is pretty simple. Listeners, hopefully you, send in questions asking for personal advice. It could be about anything and or everything. School, love, life, work, relationships, philosophical quandaries, whatever they may be. You send in a question, I and or one of our very special guests will come onto the show, talk about it at length, give you some answers that you may or may not enjoy, and then we'll also give you a few song recommendations that we believe will help you feel better about your situation. Let us help you help yourself. So if you would like to send in a question to be answered on an upcoming episode, you can do one of two things. You can A, email me at twinkledad69@gmail.com, or B, DM at emo advice show. Once again, even though, we're strangers, you probably have never met me or any of the musicians who have come on. It's a very parasocial relationship. We love you and we care about you. And most importantly, we want you to prioritize, what is best for yourself and to take tender care of your heart. So once again, if you'd like to send in any questions, please DM at emo advice show or email twinkledad69@gmail.com. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Katie, the mastermind behind San Jose-based anti-folk project Pacing. Their album, which dropped in October of last year, quote, "Real poetry is always about plants and birds and trees and the animals and milk and honey breathing in the pink, but real life is behind a screen," unquote, has just kind of been a constant highlight in my rotation and my life since I first heard it. In fact, when T-Dads went on a temporary hiatus, Pacing was one of those projects where I'm like, okay, if T-Dads ever comes back, I absolutely want to talk about this and to platform this. It could be a shitty interview on my part, but as long as it gives someone an opportunity to listen to this album when they haven't listened to it before, that's absolutely what the purpose is. And there's a lot to say about it that I don't think I quite have the words for, but I will say this. I understand, and we talk about it in the interview, that Pacing doesn't necessarily fit the emo genre tag. It's definitely much closer to in the territory of Cheekface and Sidney Gish, who are incredible musicians, not emo, but they make very lovely music. I will say though that Pacing and Real Poetry very much share similar territory in my mind with the Captain Jazz self-titled that we talked a few episodes back about, because it's one of the best syntheses of internet culture and the real life tech. Yeah, what real life is now in 2023 in music, because of course when you talk poetic, you want to talk about all these high concepts, but real life is poetry, and a good chunk of it is spent on screens. It's spent listening to podcasts, it's spent going on your Spotify app. And just throughout the album, throughout Real Poetry, so much character and personality bleeds, and in a sense that is real emo, because there just seems to be a real connection and real life behind the music that's being created, the music that Katie makes. So yeah, it was a blessing to have this conversation, and it's even more so a blessing to share it with y'all. So yeah, here is my conversation with Katie. But first, and I think a truly incredible introductory track to both the interview and the album. Here's Bite Me. Thank you all so much, and talk to you oh so soon. Bye-bye now.
Real poetry is always about plants and birds and trees and the animals and milk and honey breathing in the pink. But real life is behind a screen, skimming and scrolling. Real trees don't grow in my yard, but I'm moving from the east where the lemons are so plenty. They don't know what to do with those things, and I'm taking you with me, my sweet. So you can bite me if it makes you feel any better. You can bite me if it makes you feel like.
And here we go.
Oh, what a waste of all your sorrow just to spit it to the floor. Your venom is my milk and honey, drink it to the coronary coffee, and my pulse is taking off like one of those space rockets, you know, sometimes they blow up into the most amazing things. Real trees don't grow in my yard, but I'm moving from the east where the Apple stores are plenty, and there's a crack in my screen. You're breaking it with me. So you can bite me if it makes you feel any better. You can bite me if it makes you feel. You can bite me if it makes you feel any better.
Hello.
Hello.
Howdy. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Katie from the band Pacing. Or maybe I just am the band Pacing. I haven't quite decided yet.
That's fair. Yeah, so I guess an icebreaker to start it off. If you had to pick a letter to describe how your day is going, which letter would you pick and why?
Oh my God. I struggle so hard with questions like this. You know, as soon as someone's like, Nate, like, what's a band you like? I'm like, I've never heard a band in my life. You know? I've never heard a letter before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with like S. It's kind of like up and down. It's squiggly. Yeah, parts were good. Parts were annoying. This part's fun.
Yeah, I think when I was like, I don't know, even when I like drafted that question, I was just like, there are like so many ways to go about this, but that is like
26 ways.
Yeah, 26 ways. But that is a very apt way to describe S, I think. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm very glad that, you know, to just kind of have this opportunity to have you on twinkledads. Because yeah, twinkledads went into hiatus for a bit. And I remember like during the time I didn't do it, there were like a bunch of, you know, like kind of like musicians projects where I'm like, it would just be like so sick to like have them on. And it was like through a tweet that was just like, you need to listen to real poetry is always about plants and birds and trees and animals and milk and honey, breathing in the pink, but real life is behind the screen by Pace. Yeah, I was like, okay. And I did. And it definitely became like one of my like just favorite projects of last year. But, you know, the album and I think just kind of like Pacing as a whole is like decidedly like anti-folk, more on the indie leaning. So I say all that because I have like just kind of the first question to pop in mind was like, How does it feel to be asked on like an emo?
Oh my gosh, I was cracking up. I feel like it's like a running joke now that I'm like, pacing is real emo. But yeah, I'm psyched. I mean, I was psyched. I was laughing and I was psyched. I think it's so funny that like I feel like I just somehow got like balls deep in like DIY emo Twitter at some point. But I feel like I was joking to my husband. I feel like I'm like I feel like I should be like public enemy #1 of DIY emo. Like I feel like emo is about like, you know, earnestness and like, you know, like vulnerability, and like I'm like the opposite. I'm like, you know, it's like the whole project is me like fighting with myself, trying to be vulnerable and then being like, that's stupid. And then I'm also like, I have such like imposter syndrome as a musician. I feel like I'm really just like a bored, disgruntled tech employee that like bought a Scarlett interface during COVID and like decided to like cloud the market of real musicians with my garbage. So that's yeah. So anyway, it's very funny to me. But I love emo.
Hell yeah. So like whenever people like do try to like branch it into like DIY emo, like do you ever feel like resistance to like any of like the emo like genre tagging, or
resistant to the like if I'm getting tagged with it, or like,
yeah, like people are just like, you know, I think I don't know, because it came up in like a previous interview where it's just like whenever people are like pacing real poetry is like, you know, like emo, like genuinely emo. Are you like, you know, like, yes, I should be public enemy #1, but you're like, yeah, that's like an apt way to describe it.
That doesn't happen very often, I don't think. It's more like my friends on emo Twitter are saying it. I assume they're joking, but I don't know. I think Snake Facts is pretty emo. My sad little snake EP. I think that's real emo. TM.
Yeah.
But yeah, genre is made up, right? I don't know. Yeah, the anti-folk thing is really just like, I mean, I made that up one day and I wrote it in a press release and it became reality.
I mean, it does really like, yeah. I mean, the music like does really kind of fit into like the, I don't know, like other like genre, like bear or the other like anti-folk like bears, like, you know, like Moldy Peaches, fucking like even like Cindy Gish, where it's just like, yeah, it's like a neat little pop.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Yeah, I feel like it's just kind of like a tool for trying to find the people who grew up on the Juno soundtrack. Yeah. And then it also sort of lowers your expectations. It's like saying something is lo-fi. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like shit a little bit.
Yeah, fucking lo-fi really is just kind of a blanket for like when you like listen to something and you think it sounds like shit, you're like, it's supposed to. I can't complain about this.
It's lo-fi.
But yeah, I guess just like without that, like, you know, and kind of talk about like the funny nature of like, I don't know, of anything being called emo, and then just like an umbrella statement for a lot of things. How's everything going? How has been, I guess, just like, you know, the past year of real poetry and just kind of the Pacing project?
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster, like the letter S. No, it's going really well. I feel like I'm, so lucky that it's going this well. Like I don't know. Expectations are weird, you know? It's like when you first start the thing, you're like, wow, it'd be sick if like 5 people I didn't know listened to my band. And then you're like, at some point you're like, you know, shooting for the moon. But I feel like I try to stay in the middle. But it's been great. I feel like I'm just finally, like, the most exciting thing that's happened recently is I'm like finding my local music scene, which I was really bad. Like I lived on the internet for so long and I didn't even know how to play my songs. Like I write a song, I record it. The whole first album, or I'm calling it an EP now, another branding identity crisis. But like the first album, I didn't know how to play any of those songs. I like wrote them and recorded them, and then that was that. And then it just never occurred to me. And so I, like, just the past year have started playing shows, and it's been so fun. I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? It's so fun, you know? And I've moved to San Jose, California, and I love the scene here. It's like just it's something really special about like a place where it's like sort of not known for its music scene. And then so it's like all the weirdos kind of gathering together, like, yeah. So that's exciting. And we're like working on arrangements as a band. My partner, Ben, is like sort of unofficially in the band. Like he's been on some songs and others he's not, as far as recording, it's kind of like chaotic what I decided to do. But he's just like an incredible musician and much more authentically emo than me. He should be. I'm intimidated by you after listening to your podcast. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anything. Ben's like just a super talented musician, which he'll adamantly deny. And like a really just like passionate listener of music, like really keeps up with the things that he loves and supports a ton of things. So anyway, just a little Ben pitch. But yeah, so I'm working on a band with Ben, and then we've just got our friend Joe, who is playing drums with us, and we have our first show as a band, like in a week, and we need to practice more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, just because I think I saw the bill, who else is on that?
Oh yeah, it rocks. It's like stacked. It's Star 99, who is like my favorite San Jose band, and also is Chris is in Star 99, is Heavy Lemon, who like he runs Heavy Lemon, which is like this local booking. I don't know, how do you refer to that? Anyway, he's wonderful, and Star 99 is wonderful. And then it's Spiral XP and TV Star, who are both from Seattle and like super rock. And it's at Jade Cafe, which is a dim sum restaurant. And Heavy Lemon has been putting on shows there, and they've all been like amazing. It's a really sweet space.
Oh shit! I think okay, that's interesting because I think one of my friends' bands, or like a band that I'm friends with, they performed a Star 99 there. So I'm like, that actually just
really what band?
They're called Hidden Driver. Shout out Hidden Driver.
Yeah, I've been to several Star 99 shows there, but not that one apparently.
Yeah, I think it's just funny too that you do like name like Star 99 and kind of like Star 99, TV Star, and like Spiral XP, because like kind of going back into like the genre tag conversation, those are just bands that are really pioneering like the genre of just like guitar. Like,
yeah,
I like we'll just see like on the internet where just people will be like solid guitar music from like blank. So
that's so funny. I hate lead guitar. I'm like a notorious hater of guitar solos. But like, I like, that's not a blanket rule. There are tons of bands that I love that do, and then I trick myself in. But so it's really funny. It's like we like don't really have lead guitar. I'm like it's a more imposter syndrome for me. Yeah. But I love those bands. I love Star 99. They're like one of my favorite things about living in San Jose.
Oh yeah. I think pacing, especially just like imagining like a full band pacing would just be like, that would just be like a sick bill overall. Going to be a sick bill.
Yeah. I'm super psyched. We'll see. And there's going to be someone there like filming the whole thing, I think, which makes me super nervous because we will have never heard each other before this show. Yeah. We've been practicing, here with my like electronic drum kit and then at Joe's house, but we can't hear each other at all because like we don't have a real setup. So the drums just like super overpower everything. So the show is going to be like the first time we play together and it'll be recorded. So anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. How long have y'all been like practicing, or like how long ago was the decision made?
Like since the show was booked.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a month or two. Yeah. But Ben's been playing with me. Like when I first started playing shows, it was just me. And then I sort of added Ben on and he was doing like more textural stuff with the electric guitar and like some more like noise stuff. And then now that we have drums, Ben's kind of switching between doing that and then playing bass when we have like a couple songs that are more like full band sounding. So it's really a fun set. It's really all over the place. Like I really do not know. I would love to see like what genre tags one might put on this set because it's really weird.
Yeah. So I think there's like, I guess now I mean, I don't know. The question I want to ask is like, so now since it's like branching out, do you kind of like expect in terms of like studio and like recording wise, like pacing to just kind of like embrace like having like a bigger crew behind it, record it?
No, this is the question. I literally just like looked back on a tweet I made like a year ago earlier, where this is the tweet. I'll read it to you. It says, oh wow, I tweeted a lot today. I'm so annoying. It says, I look forward to not doing that thing where after making 2 bedroom pop albums, you go into a studio with a bunch of men and make something worse. That was me last July. So anyway, I think I'm gonna do that now. Yeah, I think no, but I think this is totally, so I'm working on stuff. So I'm definitely like realizing like the power of band. Like it really is so much fun. And Joe and Ben are both so good that I'm like, I don't want you to be like, I never really wanted to have a band where it's like, I'm in charge and here are my songs and you better play exactly what I want you to play, So it's like, I do want to be doing stuff with the 3 of us. But then I think I want to keep just doing the bedroom pop thing, like in parallel. And there are always going to be songs that like just never get played. Like on this record, like Annoying Email. I don't know how to, like, I don't know. I like play the bass part on the keyboard and like, that's never going to happen again, Like I don't think it ever needs to be a live song. So I think I'll just keep doing both. And then at some point, we're going to figure it out. But I'm having fun.
That's good. I think even with the power of manifestation, like I'm glad that it just like, it appears to be like a natural, like, and like a positive step forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I'm so lucky. Like Ben lives in my house and we can play together at any point, and it's like, we have inherently complete trust, right? And then it's, like starting from that as a foundation is like, I think excellent. As well as like, what's awesome about like being an adult is like, I'm not an idiot anymore. Like I feel like if I was doing this when I was like 16, I'd be making like the world's worst fucking decisions in like every area of this thing. So it's really nice that I have like a more or less fully formed brain. And like, I know what I want and I know what I don't want to do. Fast forward to like a year from now where I've like completely made like some shit album that is the opposite of it.
Yeah. But like no, that's like a valid point too, because like just like with like time comes like the ability to like, I don't know more how to communicate and to kind of be like, I could solve things out, not in a way that's just completely like jackassery,
Yeah, absolutely. And just knowing that like the things that you think you want sometimes you don't want, like a lot of people sort of starting out like, I want to be on a big record label or like whatever, I want to go on a big tour, and then it's like people regret their decisions, I think.
So I think before kind of like the last question we have before we start the advice questions, I did something popped in my mind because I'm just like reading over the like the full like album title of Real Poetry. Like, was that like the original title, or like, I guess just how many variations of the title did you have?
Okay, so I'm like a super conceptual person. I like really early on, like I think I made like a PowerPoint mood board for the album before like half the songs were written, So it was pretty early on, like when I wrote Bite Me, I was like, okay, this is like the concept for like, I'm going to be writing more songs around this concept. And like on my mood board, I was like, like real versus fake, and like what is real, and like people misusing the word real, like being like, that's so real, or like plastic flowers was like a theme, or like sort of what constitutes as like authentic. And like when people are like that's inauthentic, like what does that mean? Or there's a whole bunch of crap on this mood board. One is like hashtag nature is beautiful. That was I don't know, just things that I think are kind of funny. And then okay, so early on, so then like poetry was a theme because it was sort of, I think when I wrote that song, it was like an exercise with where I was responding to a poem. It was a poem by Barbara Ross can't remember. I've like wrote this in an email newsletter before. But anyway, so I was kind of responding to it and I was like, God, poetry is always about, like nature, but that's like feels so far away from like my current mental state is like, like I don't understand how people like look at the ocean or like a tree swaying in the breeze and that like makes them feel, emotional in a certain way that I feel like is just like missing from my from my cold Grinch heart or something. So anyway, where am I going with this? Right. So that was the original concept. And definitely after I wrote that song, I was like, okay, this is the direction I'm going. And then the title was always Real Poetry, which I thought was funny as a title. But then I think one of the things was that like, that's like a thing like with rap, it'd be like real N-word poetry, right? So that's like sort of already taken as like a concept, there's a bunch of like playlists called that. So I was like, I don't want to be like trying to piggyback on that or like people think that I'm like, so then, but then that, there was like, and then when I was like, oh, I'm just going to do a long ass album title, like then it kind of became just a thing on its own. I was like, this seems really on brand for me. With Snake Facts, I had just done like the really long song titles. And it's also kind of, I think, like a shout out to like the long ass song titles of my youth of like Empire and stuff. And it turned out to be like incredible branding. Like so many people found out about my album just from people tweeting the whole album title and then other people being like, what's that? I think I don't know if I've Googled it. I don't know if I've Googled my album title. I should see what comes back. So anyway, long story long.
I mean, I think, okay, that's like very delightful and I think insightful. No, I think just because it like, having like having the first line, I don't know. I think just for the audience, it's just like, please just so many of it, like just so many ideas. I think just looking back onto listening, just like kind of like connected and like made like a lot more sense. And I think I just like appreciate the album more and like my favorite parts of the album. So really the only thing I do have to say in response to that is just to the audience, yeah, please listen to this album front to back if you haven't. Because I could just ramble on and it would not be fruitful for the idea of podcasting.
You can keep rambling, saying nice things about me. I'm hanging
I'm sure everyone would love it. Just imagine like a podcast where it's just like you go on and the person just like punishes you for like 50 minutes.
I feel like that totally happens.
Probably, honestly. But
this doesn't like happen to me very often. I'm not like Taylor Swift. Anyway.
Bro, Taylor Swift on podcasts where she just like doesn't even say a word and it's this person being like, you're so amazing, like like you're so good. It's like
I'm sure.
But I think to just kind of like the last question to end off before we go on to the advice questions, you mentioned annoying email. And yeah, I guess what's like the most annoying email possible? Like what does like an email like require to be annoying?
Well, I'm the most annoying emailer ever. I'm such an over explainer. Like I'm really like hung up on like honesty. Like it's like a tick is I'm like, I have to tell you every single aspect of this or else I'm lying. You'll think I'm lying. So I'm like an extreme over explainer. And I then will like apologize in between my over explaining until it's like the email is like impossible to parse. It's like you have to sit down and like I mean, I don't know if you're on my email newsletter, but I do this to people. People sign up to receive these emails. But so yeah, the most annoying email ever would include a lot of rambling, unnecessary information, apologies, contradictions, and like general business language, like circle back, like stuff that is sort of like alienating and makes you forget that you're a person. Where it's like, well, I don't know. We can pencil that in. We'll circle back.
Yeah, the circle.
Cheers. Yeah. Cheers is fine. Cheers is fine, but best is also fine. The email signatures are fine. It's the it's the cumulative effect.
Yeah, it's like the very like faint reminders that this is like transactionary. And so like
Yeah, that's true. That's a bummer. Yeah.
uh,
And by the
so
way, I love like for all of my like neurotic apology emailing, I love people who just respond to an email and they're like, sounds good. Like, or like people who just like write like regular sentences with periods at the end. I'm like, huh, thank you. Like, I don't want to talk to myself. I'm so annoying.
yeah, it's always a delight too when people do just kind of like send like that quick, like sounds good, thank you. Because it's like, cool. Like, I would say that to you if I didn't feel like emails had to be like formal,
Yeah, for sure. Pain and suffering. I miss phone calls, man. I was thinking the other day, like I'm like a real like I'm really terrified of phone calls. Like when my phone rings, I'm like, what? And I'm really bad at calling my friends, like notoriously awful. But I like love talking on the phone. Once I get on the phone, you like can't get rid of me. Kind of like once you get me on your emo podcast and talking about other crap. I love chatting. I just am terrified of getting on the phone. It's like getting in the shower or something.
Yeah, I think that too is just like, I don't know, like emails can kind of, same thing with text. I don't know. I know like personally it's just like emails and text can kind of just like hang there forever. So there's like no like you can kind of just do it when you can respond whenever you want. It's okay. With calls though, it's like you just have to be ready in the moment or like not ready.
But it's so much more efficient. Like half the time those texts, like especially because I'm like a neurotic, need to phrase it exactly right and tell you everything that's in my brain. Like it'd be so much more efficient for me to just talk to you on the phone most of the time. It's just that, yeah. So anyway, I miss phone calls. I miss home phones.
Shout out landlines.
If you call me, I won't answer, but landlines.
But appreciate the thought. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much for, I guess, that question, that interview portion about your project and real poetry. Yeah, we're going to like just play, like when we go into this segment and when we go out of it, we'll play a song from the project we're speaking about. I have yet to pick a song that will that will start the interview, but if you had to pick any song from Real Poetry to play us off into the advice questions, which song would you pick and why?
I have no idea. I feel like I want you to pick. I feel like your audience. I don't know. Should it be emo?
No, it doesn't. It could be anything. It could be your favorite. It could be your least favorite track. Like
my least favorite track. I don't know. I'm gonna let you pick. I think you should pick.
Okay. I think in a dream world, I would just do asterisk mark.
You can totally do that.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that, and I want to do annoying email and just kind of like package them together.
Totally. So, okay.
Yeah. Without further ado,
it's actually really funny. Then people, sorry. Just like then, like after all this discussion with no context, just playing the noise track, and then like people will be like, "Huh, weird. I thought it was going to be different."
I know it's the thing with branding, because also Live, Laugh, Love, harsh noise version, I would do that, but I'm like, maybe like when it comes to marketing, maybe.
No, I think you're exactly right though. You got to do annoying email, since we just talked about annoying email, and then noise track. Yeah.
So this is the noise track, which is just multiple asterisk marks, and then annoying email by pacing off of Real Poetry. Thank you all so much, and we'll talk to y'all so soon.
not my fault. I don't know what you're talking about, Steve. We can circle back whenever you have the time. I'm available all of the time. Sorry to bother you over email. I don't really want to hear your voice right now over email. Sorry if that didn't make sense. Thank you for your patience. It's been a long week for everyone. Is anybody mad at me? I'm serious. Is anybody mad at me? Woo! I'm sorry. Is anybody mad? You have to tell me. I fall. I don't know what to do to make it up to you for your patience. Is anybody mad at me for your patience? Is anybody? I am sorry. I am sorry.
Dear Katie and twinkledad, I recently celebrated living in a big and busy city for over a year now. And even though I think I'm the happiest I've ever been, I have an amazing partner and amazing friends, and I'm doing projects that I love, I feel stuck. Whenever it feels like there's nothing going on, I just get overwhelmed with the idea that nothing I'm doing right now will pan out, and I'll be stuck in this post-grad hole for forever. I'm happy when I'm doing the stuff I love, but I can't do that stuff 24/7. Am I just impatient? Antsy? How should I go about handling these lulls? Thank you so much. Margaret Sick at Huntsman's Creek.
Ouch, Margaret. Relatable. Yes, this speaks to me. Personally, I don't tolerate lulls. I just like create something to devote my entire life to, like a band. But yeah, I was not particularly prepared with advice here. I definitely relate to like feeling like, I think just like the idea that you're like, is this real life? Like, is this really what it's going to be? You're like kind of always expecting something else to happen. And I'm really bad at that. I don't feel like I have good advice, but that's what I do is I just like devote all of my, like I go through obsessions where I'll just have a thing that I devote all of my time to. And then like in between that, I'm just like depressed, waiting for the next obsession. So as much as I can try to structure that to like create stuff for myself to focus on.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I think for, Margaret, it's like, I guess it's just I don't know, because it's like, it feels like doing the stuff, like, I think the lulz thing is just like very like, I don't know, it's a bit like perplexing because it's just like, I think in a way it's just like, it's almost impossible to like not have lulz.
Mm-hmm. That's so
like,
true.
So it's just like almost like what would make like Margaret like feel better about like experiencing those lulz.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like I feel like the advice we should be giving Margaret is like, don't worry about it. Like take a deep breath, try to enjoy your life as it is right now. It won't ever be like this again. You're in this exciting time. Like just try to, not feel bad about the fact that you're not there yet. And like, just, but like that advice is annoying because I would feel annoyed if I was receiving that advice.
Yeah. Because it is really just like, oh, like it's the same thing when it's like, I will always think of, I forgot which podcast I heard it from, but
story of my life.
But it's a good podcast. I will probably just edit it in somewhere. But it was like, it's a podcast about depression, and they like, it just like reminds me of the advice of like whenever like people do open up about like being depressed or being sad, like a lot of people will like be like, drink water. Like, you know, like have you tried exercising? And it's just like,
Yep.
yeah, like, yeah. And it like, you know, doesn't make it better, you know.
And the worst part too, like I don't do those things, you know, and then I still get annoyed. I feel like I always had this thought in my head as I'm like, all of my problems would be solved. I just know if I drank water, exercised, meditated, did, you know, like called a friend every day, like whatever the list of things are. I mean, I have a list where I'm like, I just know that it would be better, but it's like, it's hard. I mean, it's just, it feels impossible.
Yeah. I know it feels like it because it is kind of. I'm sorry, Margaret, for this advice. That it's just
we're the worst. I mean, it's an emo advice show. I think we're doing fine.
Yeah, emo advice, and it's just the two people.
We offer you empathy.
Yeah. No, because it's like, especially like the post grad limbo is like that's one thing, but like, yeah, I think that too is because like it's always going to be gradual. Like in terms of like progression or like feeling happy or adjusting, you know, even if like it doesn't feel so right now, like it will get better, you know, if you believe you're on the right path. But like, you know, speaking about like having like a list or like just the notes that everyone says to hit whenever you're like sad, it like it's also fair to feel disappointed when you just do one of those things and be like, well, that didn't work. Like, you know.
Right. No, absolutely. Totally. And I'm sure sometimes you do all of them and it doesn't work. I mean, it is what it is. Life is cruel and unfair.
Yeah. Life is fucking cruel and unfair. So did you have like any like song recommendations?
Yeah, okay. I've struggled. I've overthought this to death. Because you only give me one day to come up with song recs, and this is a so
So sorry.
it's a big deal, man. To take weeks to make the perfect playlist. No, but I think I have the perfect one. It's a song from my friend, Career Woman, is a band local, Santa Cruz. My friend Melody is the songwriter. And the song is called No Alibi. She writes a lot of songs that are kind of about like dissociating and kind of being like, when does my real life start? Like, why am I not enjoying my life? Which I feel like is maybe in line with what Margaret's feeling. And I'm torn because my friend, she does like these dorm room demos where she like records just on like a single earbud. And then she later does the song like with her full band and they also sound amazing. So I can't decide which version to go with. They're both bangers. But I think we should do the demo.
Okay. That's I don't know. The concept of that being called a dorm room demo is just that's so funny. That is
it's
like
so cool. It's literally her like on an earbud, like in front of her roommates singing into the earbud. And then she uses this like god awful web app where you like, can't export stems. It's like GarageBand Junior. And it sounds amazing. I mean, what were we saying about lo-fi earlier? But her band is also incredible. And like the actual song, everyone has to promise to listen to that also because it really bangs. The demo is just special.
Yeah, I think that's also a good one. Honestly, I want to know, I don't know if you would oppose to this. You can happily say no. What if I put like both versions?
Sure. Absolutely. I was kind of going to say that, but I was like, I'm so annoying. It's a short song.
Well, honestly, if a guest ever asked me to just do like a YouTube video, like MP3 rip, I'd be like, okay, like, you know.
Excellent.
But I guess for you, Margaret, it's like, I do like listening to like the dorm room demo of No Alibi and then like the full band version. It's just kind of like, you know, those are like, you know, same song done like two different times at like two different like stages. I think, yeah, it's going to be brutal. Life is going to be brutal no matter what. And, you know, you definitely have like our empathy and our care for like going through those lulls. And I think just like, it'll be worth it. You could record something during those boring lulls, and then you can just revisit it when you're like, damn, I actually like went on the path I was set out to do. It's just that those 2 weeks sucked. So,
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful how you tied that together.
yeah.
I'm so touched by this internet connection between you, me, and Margaret and your analogy of song. It's really lovely.
Yeah, that was part of the reason I was like suggesting it too, because I'm like, that actually is like, I feel like that's nice. It sounds fun. It's something that I'm excited to listen to.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I guess, do you have any final words for Margaret before we listen to both versions of No Alibi?
I want to know what she thinks of the song. If she's dissatisfied with her music recommendation, I will make her a new playlist. So let me know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free
We need to get it right.
Right. Just like, yeah, the most. Do you just like wake up one morning to an email like, fuck you? And it's just like, okay.
Margaret seems like a nice person. I don't think that's going to happen. Song recs are hard. Sometimes song recs are challenging.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like,
yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's always like such an accomplishment when people are like, that was a good song rec. It's like, yes.
Right. Because you have to really understand like what, like, when you're like, you like this thing, so I think you'll like this thing. It's like, sometimes you're wrong for the reason that you thought they liked the thing. This happens to me all the time, where it's like, sure, that's the same genre, but you've completely missed the point of why I liked that first thing. And then this is especially challenging, where it's like, here's a thing that to me represents the feeling that I think you're feeling. And it's like, if I'm wrong, it's like, oh, I actually just didn't understand you. I was just projecting.
It's like, yeah, there's just so many like different levels to it, I think. And like, yeah, maybe, yeah, a bit off topic, but it's like, it's always worse too when you give a song rec and a person's just like, I never listened to this like on my own, but thanks, I appreciate the thought.
Right. Ouch, man.
But yeah, I mean, I really hope, Margaret, that you do enjoy these songs, and please let Katie know whether or not you enjoyed the songs, because that would mean a lot. So without further ado, this is No Alibi by Career Woman, Dorm Room Demo, and then No Alibi by Career Woman, the like fully produced song. Thank you so much, and yeah, I hope this serves you well. Bye bye now.
You grew up inside a series of unfortunate events. I knew of the truth but didn't know the meaning yet. I am living in the future like it's paved in cement, but it's liquid. I keep eating like I'm in the apocalypse. I keep reading but don't remember the words I read. And I keep sleeping like I'll never close my eyes again, or like it's permanent. When will this You grew up inside a series of unfortunate events. I knew of the truth but didn't know the meaning yet. I am living in the future like it's paved in cement, but it's liquid. I keep eating like I'm stuck in the apocalypse. I keep reading but I don't remember words I read. And I keep sleeping like I'll never close my eyes again, or like it's permanent. When will this feel like real life? When do I get to be on the inside? It all keeps slipping by. No alibi, no alibi, no alibi. The only time I don't feel offbeat is when I'm in the pit. It doesn't matter what you're wearing when you bathe in sweat. And I'll keep pushing till I'm out of breath and try again until I don't care. When will this feel like real life? When do I get to be on the inside? It all keeps slipping by. No alibi, no alibi, no alibi.
Dear Katie and T-Dad, my partner is always doing this thing where she pushes people away before they can hurt her. But then she gets upset now that they're not close. And I'm just standing here like, remember when you pushed them away? But obviously I can't say that. How should I go about this? Thank you, Ethel in Des Moines.
Once again, just ouch. I feel like you picked these advice questions to like come from me personally. I find that very relatable. Just like
yeah.
I find that super relatable, where you're sort of, you want more from people, but you don't know how to ask them, or you're like, sort of creating distance when you mean to do the opposite for various reasons. And I think that like, once again, just like anti-advice of like, I think there's sort of nothing you can really do. Like, I think she kind of just has to learn for herself, and all you can really do is just like be there and, love her and support her. But what I would probably actually do is just very bluntly tell her what she's doing, because that's how I handle my life, and it usually doesn't work out. So, but I mean, just the fact that you like care and are watching and asking strangers for advice, it sounds like you're doing a good job and you care about her and you're supporting her.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's a really solid point too, because honestly, because it's like semi-related to like the last question as well, is because like when it comes to like giving advice or like comforting other people, like Ethel, if you are a person who takes like the empathy route of just like, I don't know how to solve that, but you're right, it does kind of suck. And it's like, I feel for you. It's just like, if that's your way of showing your partner that you like care about them, then I feel like you're on the right path, literally asking two strangers for advice and like having that in your mind that you're like really like prioritizing like how to care for them. I think another point that comes in my mind, that it's just like, I don't know how long you've been in a relationship with your partner, Ethel, but it's like at this point you probably like let's say you guys have been together for like a long time, you probably like already know like a way to like communicate to them. So it's just like, what's like what would be a way for you to like communicate to them of just like, hey, like, why do you do this? Like in a way that's just like loving and affirming, instead of you going, but you did push them away.
Absolutely. I feel like I spent a lot of time on Reddit, like on like, am I the asshole? And these stupid Reddits, they're like people looking for advice. And I feel like a lot of the time that's the response, is like someone's like, how do I talk to my partner about whatever? And it's like, you've already done it so elegantly to us, in this post with so much like care, literally just read them this post. Sort of the, it is clear that they care, that Ethel cares.
Yeah. It's also like it feels like a step before like the stages of like, am I the asshole questions? Because that's usually like, I feel like, Ethel, you could post on am I the asshole if you did say, but you push them away and they're like, now they're mad at me. Am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're being pushed away.
Yeah. Now they're
bummer. It sucks watching people that you love do stupid things. It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah. It's just like always like, I guess just like once again, it depends on like what the relationship is like, because if y'all already have like this like foundation of trust, then I feel like what's the harm in just kind of like, sitting down and like talking about it, as opposed to like, let's say this is like a new foundling relationship and you saying this is like kind of like what breaks it apart,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a longer relationship because they've noticed this pattern over time.
Yeah. So I think, especially in the empathy approach of giving advice, it's just like, I don't know. It's funny. Just there are so many ways to just approach situations. I think it's just funny that we're just both kind of like, yeah, this blows, because it does.
Well, I was just thinking it's hilarious how like fucking smug I am in my advice giving after like 8 minutes of it, where I'm like, yeah, so all knowing about it all. I feel qualified to give advice now.
Yeah. I appreciate this, I appreciate it because it's always just because that's also like a good way of giving advice. Like, people will like, especially when you just like only know so much about the person asking advice, like, instead of being like, I know everything about you. It's just like, yeah, it fucking sucks to suck. Like,
hey, you're the one who does this professionally.
Professionally is
songs.
So I guess just on that note, like, what song recommendation did you have for Ethel?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I felt the need to pick something emo to prove my emo cred. So the song is "Really Big Shrimp" by Carly Cosgrove, which is just a band that I love and discovered recently. And there's like a real self-destructive streak in this songwriter and in this song, and I think that I don't know if it'll be any help, but I think it'll be relatable.
No, I think that is a solid song choice and really does prove emo cred.
Thank you, Willard. I was gonna give you a Cheek Face song, but I was like, I feel like I'll get kicked out of DIY emo if I.
Oh yeah, I was on the bus home and I saw that on your story and I just like could not stop laughing. So like,
what? Oh, the
I was just like, yeah, you can do a like Cheek Face song.
I just feel like that would be like the most authentic me thing to do, is to play a Cheek Face song on the emo podcast, because Cheek Face is secretly sad. Okay, yeah. This is like most of the music I like can either fall in the category of like funny but secretly sad, or like sad but secretly funny. And Cheek Face is the first one. Wait, yeah, whatever I said. Yeah.
Cheek Face secretly sad, but also just like so fucking catchy. So
so true.
So I guess just any final words for Ethel before we kind of say goodbye to this episode and then play off with Really Big Shrimp.
Ethel, I expect to hear from you whether you like my song choice, and if your money back, I will make you a playlist, guaranteed.
Yeah, I will Venmo you $5 actually from out of my pocket for Margaret or Ethel.
Yeah, I'll match that. Yeah.
Oh, what a funny chain that would be. But besides thinking about Venmoing strangers over song recommendations, thank you so much, Katie, for
No, thank you. I had so much fun. What a blast.
I know, it was very delightful. Do you have any like final things you'd like to say? Any plugs before we play off the episode?
No, I mean, yeah, thank you so much for having me. Your show rocks. This was so much fun. Pacing is a real emo. You heard it here first. Can I get my emo card in the mail? Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for becoming real emo, becoming the most prominent post-hardcore old band. Yeah. So hell yeah, Ethel. I really hope that our advice and conversation help to any of the listeners. I just hope that y'all enjoyed this, and most importantly, listen to real poetry by Pacing.
It's always about plants and birds and trees and all the animals and milk and honey and breathing in the pink, but real life is behind a screen.
That was quick. That was. Yeah, I can only imagine after like typing it twice, it's just like fucking locked in. So
I actually never type it. I just copy and paste it. I don't really type things if I can help it. Anyway, goodbye.
All right. This is Really Big Shrimp by Carly Cosgrove. Thank y'all so much. Thank everyone just for listening. Thank you, Katie, once again. I hope y'all enjoy, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Till I can't give you something back. no proof intact, won't have me sold, and I will fold myself in half before I snap, and I will hold myself to that. Mom, don't give me that till I can give you something back. No proof intact, won't have me sold, and I will fold myself in half before I snap, and I will hold myself to that until I give you something cherish a time when nobody paid attention. I sang and I played and I vented, and 25 people shrugged. I cherish my life before all the sudden potential. For 25 minutes I'm special, as soon as they're over I'm not.